All right, guys, how are you guys doing today? Today we are in San Antonio. We are doing Syndicate Wholesaling Real Estate Live this weekend. So we actually got an Airbnb out in San Antonio with fellow TU members. So I say, you know what? Why not use this time instead of making phone calls, calling live sellers? Why don't I just interview other investors who are well experienced in the industry about certain topics that are pretty hot all the time? And today we're actually going to talk about how most wholesalers fail because they don't know how to vet buyers. Today I'm with a pro here, Joey Dirte, who's been doing real estate for years, creative deals, dispo, you name it. We're breaking down the exact steps to spot real buyers, avoid tire kickers, and most importantly, protect yourself. So let's dive in. Joey, let's introduce yourself.
Joey Dirte, investor. Wholesale is an exit strategy. I wouldn't consider myself a wholesaler. I would consider myself a owner of an investment company, and wholesaling is definitely an exit strategy. Took this year off. I knew the market was going to pivot, and I was the effect of that last year at the end of the year. So decided to focus and get cash heavy versus cash poor in the middle of the chaos of last year, and it turned out to be a very good move for us. Got to learn a lot about the market. The market shifts, buyers, and building my buyer network and just networking in general with both the wholesale community, entrepreneurs, other investors throughout the country, getting really good intel and feedback from the community. And I just kind of say that's real estate in general when I say that. But yeah, so this year we just focused on wholesaling to get cash heavy. Brought my son on board, and we have 6 people on acquisitions, 3.5 on dispositions, and
hey, long, that's you. That's the half.
Yeah, that's the short half of the long. So that's kind of where we're at. We're this year we're getting ready and gearing up towards going back to the buyers side, heavy on acquisitions. Probably won't get into many flips at the beginning of the year. We're in the market. If you have any portfolios, we're a portfolio buyer. We do RV parks, and we also do mobile homes. And we acquire those through seller carrybacks, or at least partial seller carrybacks. Sellers need to be wanting to avoid capital gains and structure things creatively. So a little bit about me.
Perfect. Well, first and foremost, man, thank you very much for taking the time to do this, because I know it's going to provide a ton of value for a lot of folks, whether they're experienced or new, but definitely the newbies. Also, thank you for setting this whole thing up. It's a pretty awesome Airbnb out here in San Antonio. It's pretty much a TU house, Titanium University. So let's get right into it, man. Today we're going to talk about vetting buyers. So the first question I got for you, Joey, with your experience, how do you vet buyers? Like, what's your process? And by the way, when I do this, I like going live because I don't like it to be formal. Just whatever comes to you.
Vetting buyers, this is a very hot topic, especially inside our community. And I am a buyer who was taught how to properly be a creative buyer by a very large wholesale company, Keeley. And when I say that, one of the owners taught me as a buyer how to properly communicate. He trained me. So I guess you've got to break down as what is a buyer, right? What is the categories of a buyer?
Yep.
And especially people that are new in the space can quickly get jaded because everybody new probably just thinks everyone's cash.
That's right.
And it's the exact opposite. So even myself define cash, right? So I really would prefer to kind of take a few steps back and define your buyers. So
perfect.
On one hand, you have your traditional wholesale and your cash buyer. Those are people that have availability to cash quickly. And when I say quickly, you can close on a deal and fund it within 5 to 10 business days or less. And you're using your own capital, whether you're moving it from the market, you're moving it from savings accounts, or even a HELOC. I would actually, a HELOC I wouldn't consider cash because you need financing approval. But something that you can get access to very fast. Most cash buyers can close within 72 hours. That's what I truly consider a cash buyer, somebody who can close as soon as title clears. And so cash is cash. Cash is literally what's right there and available, and it's yours, or a family member, whatever. So
yep.
That is a traditional cash buyer. When I say that I'm a cash buyer, that does not mean I'm a hard money lender buyer. So that's a very big difference than cash. A lot of people will disillusion a wholesaler into I can close within 10 to 15 business days. I need to move some money around. I've seen and heard that. Mm-hmm. And in reality, they're a hard money buyer, and they have to get approval. They have to get an appraisal. They have to get, it's actually a pretty significant process. If you have experience and you've done a lot of flips and you are utilizing hard money, you can close within 5 to 10 business days. They value your business. You're at the front of the line, and you're a big player. Some of the hard money lenders give out lines of credit because you're pre-vetted and they've done business with you. So lines of credit are still not cash. I consider cash. Cash. If you can't, again, close within 48 to 72 hours, it's not cash. If you need approval, it's not cash.
Let me ask you a quick question real fast, if you don't mind. When it comes to people that are coming in with a hard money lender, right? Usually they would do a final walkthrough because the hard money lender would want to see the house and get that approval, right? And usually that's just a formality thing, and 9 out of 10 they will get approved. So here's my question to you: what happens to that EMD? What if that 1 out of 10 when the hard money lender doesn't approve it?
So I am a hard money buyer. I'm actually a creative buyer, which is completely different, but I use hard money as well. Mm-hmm. EMD is non-refundable in a wholesale transaction. It's not contingent upon approval of financing. Hard money lenders are approving your financing. They run your credit report, soft or hard. They do a desktop appraisal to see if your comps, soft comps, they soft comp it literally on their desktop of their computer. And then they give out an approval letter, proof of funds. Now let's get into proof of funds. You can go to 100 different hard money websites right now, and they provide a fake proof of funds.
Sure.
So as a wholesaler, you need to get this proof of funds, call and verify that it has been approved, that the address, and you have an actual lender's name that's going to communicate with you. That is the first step in a hard money proof of funds. But the EMD is non-refundable, and also EMD can come to whatever terms the two of you agree upon. So cash is usually $5K. that can vary with each wholesaler in each market.
Right.
What's the standard? What's your standard? Is something I like to tell some of the new people.
Price point.
Price point, yeah, like a $10,000 buy, probably, 1,500 would be something I would probably do on a minimum. Had one close today. He bucked up at 1,500 because it was an $8,000 buy. I said, put $1,000 down and we'll call it a day. So it's your standard in the industry, and you need to create that and follow that. But on a hard money, like, let's really emphasize on this, because this is not cash. They are a private firm that will generally are using their own cash or cash of a pool of investors, where they've got a board or a bunch of private equity, and there's desktop underwriters, but you still need an appraisal. So anytime I ask how they're going to close before I assign, are you cash? Are you bringing a PML, or are you hard money? Or are you creative? I never ask creative, but I'm a creative buyer. I use all four, cash, creative. I'm a structured different things, different ways. But on hard money, that appraisal is very important, because I've seen appraisals come in the day before closing, and that's not correct either. So I always put in my assignments when I'm assigning to a hard money buyer, I do make sure I'm a significant E&D, more than average. So if my standard's 5, I'm firm on 5 no matter what. That way they know before they accept the assignment that there's a chance if they don't follow through, you're going to keep that E&D.
Yep.
Also, that appraisal needs to be done within the 14 days of signing, and it can't be, and it has to be done at least 7 days before the date of
closing.
That way, if the appraisal comes back, because when they go out for the appraisal, it takes them about 24 to 48 hours to get the appraisal back, unless they use their own internal appraisal people. But generally it's 24 to 48 hours, and then they're going to call you and they might drag their feet. So you really want 7 to 10 business days before closing for the approval or the appraisal to be in and it be finalized as far as there's a closing date established. I'm pretty strict on hard money unless it's just a beast of a flipper and they're out there. I definitely vet them on their experience, especially doing nationwide. I'm a flipper, so I know the questions to ask on experience, maybe a reference of a couple addresses and what LLCs they use to close in. If I really wanted to do some serious due diligence and I had a weird feeling, I might ask them for operating agreements on those LLCs, just to kind of see if it is theirs or if it was their buddy's LLC and they were just name dropping. So hard money will and can fail at the closing line. But if your appraisal's done and the approval's done, then chances are there's probably a 95% it's going to get to the finish line.
Got it.
But definitely don't be waiting to the last minute for appraisals to be approved. Final approvals, you want everything to know about 5 days. All lender information needs to be to title and it needs to be to you so that you can keep track of the communication. Communication's key. You as the wholesaler, you're constantly wondering and you're thinking it's cash and it's a hard money buyer. So it can still fail at the last minute. ARV might have shifted 10 grand and it blew the deal doesn't work or something.
Yep.
So there's definitely.
So question for you. I mean, you answered part of it already, is how do you protect yourself? So as a wholesaler, let's say you do assign the contract over to a hard money buyer. You told them everything. obviously there is, even though they do the appraisal 7 to 10 days before closing, there's still that 5% chance that it'll go sideways. So you as a wholesaler, how can you protect yourself so that if it does go sideways, you already have a backup buyer? Do you have, like, how do you, what contingencies can you put in place so that your deal still meets eventually?
Any buyer, you should always continue to market the property, even with EMD in, but especially with hard money, private money, creative buyers. I tell everybody, you know, there's transparency and communication. It's up to you, the deal holder, even if you JV with a dispo house, you're protecting your seller at the end of the day. Your job is to protect your seller and to get paid your share of the contract. So you don't just give it off to the dispo company and expect zero communication. Every 3 days, I would say, is comfortable enough to communicate with your dispo house. You're busy, they're busy. That's fair communication. When it comes to about a week before the closing, you should get kind of like a full confirmation, especially if there's financing involved. But how do I protect myself? I never stop marketing the property. I have clear communication with myself and that buyer. I get lender information so that I have a direct line to the lender. If I feel anything funky, because buyers are liars and they will string you along. Sometimes they might just open up with a hard money lender and then shop 2 or 3 more just to get your pre-approval and everything you're requiring. So buyers play games as well. Never stop marketing the property is my highest recommendation. Even on Investor Lift, when I assign a deal, I never mark it as assigned. I always leave it open so that you're collecting data. Data is king in this industry. You're collecting new buyers inside Investor Lift. So you're going to continue your dispo team, especially if you're assigning a lot of deals. Circle back with those Investor Lift buyers. Have good educated conversations, because they could be the buyer on your next deal. Find out their buy boxes, but also let them know we have accepted an offer. EMD is in. It is hard money. So if it fails at the closing table for whatever reason, I need to know that I can rely on you as a backup offer. Are you cash? You're writing all this data down because you're going to enter it into whatever
CRM,
that you have for your next deal and your VIP list, right? Make them feel special.
And that's where I was getting at, is because I've done that before. I mean, you guys know I don't dispo, but I had a team before, and I JV the dispo folks as well. It's like, okay, if we're dealing with someone that is a hard money buyer, we got to put all these contingencies. Like, yes, we already have the AMD, everything's good, but there's still that small chance. So keep marketing it, like he said, you know. And when you talk to other buyers, let them know your situation. Everything, guys. If there's one key takeaway that you guys would take from this live right now, is just full transparency, communication on what they're doing, what you're doing, so that way you can maneuver in the right time, in a timely manner, so that way, like you said, you are protecting seller, and the deal still goes through. Would you agree?
100%. Comes down to communication and never stop marketing the property.
That's right.
Backup buyers, because backup buyers are future buyers, and you're just collecting data.
Absolutely.
Data in this new world that we're in, digital, is king. So, you know, I've seen some of the gurus and mentors out there selling buyers lists for 10 G's, you know, vetted buyers lists. Powerful data. So you're only setting yourself up for success by the continued marketing on the platform, even when you assign it.
Perfect. So we talked about cash buyers. We talked about hard money buyers. What other type of buyers out
PMLs.
Okay,
So
PMLs.
PML is considered financing.
What is PML, by the way, for some of the folks that don't know what PML is?
Private money lender.
Got it.
Your aunt's going to loan you money. You might have somebody who does it full time and has a nice retirement fund that they're drawing from. Or there's a private money broker that goes out and seeks inexperienced people that want to get into real estate, but just want to invest their money for safe returns. There's those brokers, but I mean, your mom, your aunt, your uncle, you could loan me money on a flip that I'm doing, and whatever interest rate we negotiate. The private money lender has their own cash. They can close fast. There is still an approval process.
Yep.
So I have to go to Caesar and ask you for $50,000, and you're going to say, I need paperwork. Let me run this by the attorney. I need a security deed. I need. So let's go to security deed. Anytime a security deed is filed as well, I would consider it financing. Somebody is putting a lien on the property to secure their financing or the money lent on a deal. Private money, hard money is always going to, at close, have a security deed filed to protect their interest in the property.
Yep.
So anything in regarding, and I'm a huge PML guy. That is how I buy the majority of anything that I do. RV parks, mobile homes, it's going to be a combination. Here's the creative buyer that we're going to hit on next.
Yeah.
I might do a DSCR and bring a gap lender, private money partner, a transactional lender, a credit sponsor, whatever I need at the time. I mean, last year as a buyer, my credit score would drop from a 550 to a 820 in a matter of 60 to 90 days because I'm over leveraging my credit cards on 0% interest to do my rehab. And I mean, I got really structured amazing towards the end when I really got it dialed in, but I'd over leverage. And then as things start popping, you're paying down debt. So you would be all over the place.
Yep.
So the PML, you still need to be approved. It is cash, but it's not a cash buyer. It's a PML lender. Mom's lending you money, and mom needs to access it from her savings account, a 401k account. But if they're accessing funds, doing a security deed, and there is an approval process, I would consider private money lending still financing. HELOC, you're going to pull equity off of your house. You still need approval.
That's right. Yeah.
So that covers cash. Cash is cash. Cash is king. They can close within 24, 48, 72 hours. PML is financing. Usually with a PML, there's going to be a security deed, a promissory note, some form of paperwork involved that I'm lending you money. You're borrowing it. Could be a handshake, could be whatever, but there's still an approval process needed in a PML situation.
So would you say you'd protect yourself the same way as you would protect yourself?
Never
with a hard money buyer?
Never stop marketing the property. EMD's EMD, whatever your what you accept as an acceptable EMD in the transaction. But with financing, I always make it firm and I always make it significant to where that borrower, me, has skin in the game that's going to do whatever it takes. So $5,000 is normal for an HML or PML EMD.
Yeah.
I'm not walking away from $5,000, even though I got $250 in my checking account right now. $5,000 is still $5,000.
$5,000 still $5,000. Absolutely.
So, I mean, it might be a nice dinner out in downtown San Antonio this weekend.
Yeah.
It's still enough not to walk away from. And and significantly enough, this deal that we have closing this week, a big flipper, an institutional flipper is what I would consider them. Had a credit line from a hard money lender, 5K EMD. This just happened 2 weeks ago. We never took the deal down off of Investor Lift. Called me up. We were supposed to close last week. Called me up. The market shifted on all my flips. We're being more conservative and picky on what we're choosing to buy. We'll forfeit EMD, but we need to cancel this contract. Well, I never stopped marketing the property. Had a backup buyer in place.
Perfect.
I'm also very, very professional in every aspect of my business, for communication, emails. I do a lot of my own TCing. To me, the TC is not something that should be lightly outsourced, because that is the key component for you getting it to the table. You do not get paid until it gets to the closing table. So if you're outsourcing TCs to Vietnam, I would not recommend that. Just to be cheap and have somebody fill a seat for you. Make sure you're doing your proper due diligence on your TCs. But I never stopped marketing the property, had backup buyers, and actually on this deal specifically, New Western had a couple buyers lined up. They had already walked the property before we accepted ours versus theirs. Hit them back up. They got some people lined, waiting in line. We got a significant price reduction to get to the deal to where it needed to be, and New Western came to the table for me. But we had several buyers on Investor Lift, and you just never stop marketing the deal. Again, it's data. It's it's easier to find a buyer when you have a deal in hand.
That's right. 100%.
So
perfect.
HML, PML, cash.
Yep.
Now me. I'm creative.
Creative all day.
Creative buyers, or buyers in general, you need really good communication and proper understanding up front to know how they're going to operate their business. And I ask the buyers this up front. I was groomed and trained by a creative wholesale dispo house on how you creatively be a buyer, but to get groomed. If I was doing something super creative, they actually would be really firm on like a $7,500 EMD, because they want to know that I'm going to put in my all to get it done to tie up that contract while they continue to market the property. So creative would be, you get a hard money lender, you have a down payment in a hard lender. That down payment, you get what's called a gap lender. So you're borrowing money here. They want 30% down to come to the table. You're borrowing the 30%. So now you have two approvals. You have a PML usually. You have an HML, hard money, private money. And then there's an EMD that they require. Remember that big $7,000 EMD or $5,000? I'd borrow that too. I like to buy laundromats and classic trucks. I don't use my cash for real estate. I'd rather pay interest, come out of pocket zero, bring money home, pay off my investors, and keep it moving.
There you go.
So I'm a creative buyer that's usually going to use at least two of those to close a deal. Me as a creative buyer, and how I was trained to be a good buyer for a creative wholesale company. You should not sign any kind of documentation until you have a little bit. I've done my due diligence. I know I can get, when I go under contract, I tell anybody who brings me a deal, don't keep continuing to market the property. I need 72 hours at least to underwrite the deal. Let me go to my private money network and see how we're going to source these funds to collectively crowdsource my funding for this project. Most flippers do that.
Yeah.
A lot of flippers don't bring their own cash to the table. And they have a series of, now I don't even have PMLs. I have PMPs. So I started paying better returns by offering parts of in the profit.
Yep.
So creative is very risky. You better have a very vetted buyer. Ask for HUDs and experience. You can ask for HUDs. You can ask for referrals. Do they have a title company they work for a lot or work with a lot that they wouldn't mind you calling? A real buyer is not going to say no.
Yeah. I
don't have the time to go digging up HUDs, but in your credibility checklist as a good buyer, you should have, like, I should probably put together like a Word doc of properties that I've closed creatively.
Yep.
So that it's an easy reference.
Yep.
Because good buyers have some form of credibility, or they will never have an issue of you contacting a local title agent on your behalf. So their experience has everything to do with the deal.
Yep.
When you're dealing with creative and hard money, you want to know that they have the experience to close. They're not a new investor. They're not getting new hard money loans, new credit check, new this, new that. That's they've done at least 2 or 3 deals. But even the newbies, I would just be a little bit more strict on it, because I get new investors all the time as I'm going to some of the investment meetings in Atlanta and everywhere, and they haven't done a deal yet because they haven't found a good deal as far as a good flip. So I'll find the deal. I'll lock them up with my hard money lender. In this scenario, I'm controlling everything though. I've got the deal. The lender is somebody that I know and trust, and they're communicating to me on what the process is like. So communication is everything. That's just bottom line when you're vetting your buyers.
Yeah, that's what I always tell people. Just communicate with me, man, because what you do on your end, that's your business. But I need to know, because I need to move. I need to move this deal one way or the other. So let me know along the way, along the process, are things looking sideways? Are things, is the market shifting on you? Whatever it is, just let me know. And like you said, be smart about it, guys. Continue to market your deals, especially if it's not a cash buyer. Because the only thing that's really almost guaranteed is a cash buyer.
And even that's not.
That can still go sideways as well.
Yeah. I mean, they just.
But that's the least amount, though. That's the least chance of it going sideways.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why cash buyers lists are so valuable.
That's right.
Like legit, extremely valuable.
Absolutely. And that's how they get discounts too. I mean, I know when we're talking buyers, and if I have someone that's going to bring in a hard money lender versus a cash buyer, I'll give a discount for a cash buyer, because I know the chances of it going sideways is slimmer, and also the chance of it going across the finish line is a lot higher than a hard money, right? Because real estate, guys, is all about headaches. Which headaches you're okay with?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'd rather lose $5,000 just so that I don't have to deal with all of these headaches. Right now, if $5,000 is worth more to you than those headaches, then fine, go with a hard money buyer that can pay more. But for me, I'd rather not do that. So before we get to that, Jay says, what do you mean by discount? What I mean by that, Jay, is if Joey comes to me and is like, hey, man, I'll buy that property at $115. I'm a hard money buyer. I'm going to need this, that, and that. But then I have Jay coming in at $110 as a cash buyer and can close in 72 hours as soon as title clears, and he's bringing all cash. As much as I want that extra $5, I don't want the headaches that come with a hard money buyer, so I will go for that cash buyer at $110.
Greed is a headache in real estate, and $5K to have a 50-50 chance of it closing if you don't properly vet, nor if you have the proper experience. What we're talking about right now is why people will JV with dispo houses. And even with a dispo house, what's the experience? You need to vet your dispo house. How long have you been doing it? What's the experience? What platforms do you use? What's your process of communication with me once I send over the contract? How often are you communicating? These are all things that we see Caesar and I inside our community as consistent complaints. And at the end of the day, Caesar says it best. It's on you.
Yep. I would say protect your baby.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Protect your
baby. And the baby is honestly, it's not the contract, it's the seller. You're doing a disservice to yourself, your brand, your integrity by not doing a better job at vetting buyers or vetting your dispo house so that you can go back to doing what you do best, and that's acquisitions if you're an acquisitions rep. Dispositions is your dispositions rep.
Yep.
We're not perfect, in my business model. We're growing, we're learning, we're pivoting and making changes when we can and where we can. And it all comes down again to communication.
Comes down to communication. For me, that's the key takeaway today is communication. The second thing that I do want to point out before we go to our last topic here is, especially for the new guys, there's a lot of moving parts from acquisition to dispo to getting it across the finish line, right? And there's so many moving parts. And so for me, communication is key. And I like to protect my baby, meaning I want to know what's going on all the time. It doesn't have to be every 24 hours, every hour, just like you earlier. For me, I like every 48 to 72 hours. Just let me know. Now, if we already have our next step and our next step's not till 5 days later, then I'm not going to ask you 48 hours later for feedback, right? Just let me know, like, what's our next step and when should we reconvene on this one? And so yeah, back to what I was saying, communication is key because there's just so many moving parts. And I just want the new guys to know that it's not like, hey, you acquire, now I pass it over to dispo, and now dispo will manage the majority of it, but it's your responsibility, it's your contract, it's your seller, it's your responsibility to make sure you're on the know every step of the way, so that way you can maneuver as you see fit.
Well, and if you don't feel comfortable in vetting, that's why people TC or use a TC, because they're going to, at the end of the day, the dispo house is the buyer for you if you work with a dispo house. And the TC will vet them and hold them accountable. And if you use a TC with an end buyer and you're not using a dispo house, they help you guys out. I mean, a TC is very, very, very important, especially when you're new, to help you add value to your business so you don't get stuck in these situations. I had a young TU member call me last night. He's got a deal quickly unraveling and falling apart. And when I first joined TU, I was at the not my monkeys, not my circus. Stay in my lane. You guys handle your shit. I'll handle mine. And just learn. I was just here to learn, not to help. And now I think as some certain situations keep coming up over and over and over, I'm like, I am those buyers, but I don't buy like that. Yeah. How do I help my community be smarter? Because the people that I love and trust that are teaching my son how to wholesale, they're working their asses off to build the foundation to a good brand. And, in another community, the Pace Morby community, that's very volatile, meaning in a good way, but in a bad way. You can teach somebody gun safety and how to use a gun, but when they get that gun and if they do ill will with it, it's not on you. And it's protectors inside of that community that help police the situation. So coming forward to be more value to this young man last night, in a really sticky situation, I felt the need that, where's your TC? You wouldn't be here had you not had an experienced dispo house or a TC. And specifically, this is involving a double close, no EMD from a buyer, an extension and some shady games that were going on, and not doing the due diligence because he was new. And he saw a big assignment. He wants to save as much money as he can, and because that kind of money can change somebody's life, and keep that baby to himself instead of letting the family help babysit.
That's right. That's right. Which also, by the way, this is the reason why I absolutely love RJ and his hedgehog concept. Especially within TU guys, like, RJ's like, no, I'm not going to teach you creative deals yet because you don't even know how to wholesale yet. Learn how to do that first, and then you can graduate yourself to all of these other things, right? And
his hedgehog is what? Cash.
Cash, exactly. And why? Because it's the safest one out of all of them. And by the way, when you're new, and I do agree with you where you do need that TC to help babysit, so to speak. That being said, I was new. I still am kind of new, but when I was new, I would rather use my money on leads than TC work, right? And so for me, I'm going, if I want to do that, then I was like, I'll stay away from creatives for now. I'm just going to do the simplest things because I'd rather use my money on leads than TC work.
You need TCs as much as in a creative deal as you do in a cash, hard money, or PML. A good TC is bringing the experience to the table to help protect you, and because they don't get paid. Now you brought in a partnership.
Yeah.
Right? So they help do the vetting,
It's true.
And there's several TC companies out there that all do pretty good jobs, but their job is to help you get to the finish line, help you bring that value out of that experience.
I guess what I'm saying is it was one of the headaches I was okay to deal with. I took the risk because I was just doing cash deals. Now, if I were doing I still remember my first time reaching out to you about creative, and you're like, are you using a TC? I'm like, no. You're like, well, you should. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Right. And then I know it didn't go anywhere, but nonetheless, like, you opened my mind. I'm going, yeah, you know what? This is just way out of my league. I need someone there to protect me and to protect this deal. So,
well, do you want to vet your buyer? Do you want to handle title? Do you want to do all that? Or do you want to stay on the phones?
Stay on the phones.
Because a good TC will get paid at closing because they're that confident it's going to get to the deal, the table.
That's right. That's right. Perfect. Now we're going to get into this last topic, which I've been itching for. That said, we do have quite a bit of folks on here. Guys, smash that like button, especially if you've gotten value out of this. For the new folks, that are new to my channel, if you're getting value out of here, then subscribe. It would really help your boy out. That said, let's get back to this. Sight unseen offers. And this is something that I'm very, very passionate about. And I want to ask your opinion on this. And by the way, if I'm wrong, please call me out on this, because as you can see here in my channel, it's all about growing together and inspiring each other. So I always tell folks, I have very little to no ego. So let me know if my thought process is incorrect so that I can correct myself. Okay. This happened to me 3 times last year, and I got really ticked off on the 3rd time. First time, sight unseen. The guy ended up backing out because he needed to see the property. Whatever. Learned my lesson. Second time it happened. The 3rd time it happened again, and I said, this is dumb. If someone's telling me sight unseen, my first question is, are you going to need to see the property at some point? Right? Do you need to see it now, or do you need to see it for final approval? Whatever that may be. And if the answer to that question is final approval, and once again, Mr. Buyer, you are buying this sight unseen, yes? So my process is, you're going to deposit that EMD. I don't stop marketing until that EMD is deposited. And by the way, because you're buying it sight unseen, you don't see that house. You don't get that final walkthrough until that EMD is deposited. If you're not okay with that, then don't tell me it's sight unseen. Go do your due diligence, which I'm totally okay with. I'm actually asking you to go walk the property and then make your offer afterwards. But if you want to lock me up under our contract of assignment, I need that EMD because for me, sight unseen means sight unseen. So I don't know if I've what's the word that I'm looking for here? I don't know if I'm making sense here. So what do you think?
So I guess you need to dig into that just a little bit more. So you've got a deal. I call you up or you call me up. I love it. I seen it on Investor Lift, Facebook, or your text campaign. I did the due diligence a little bit, or I looked
You're
it up
underwriting.
I looked it up on Zillow. I saw the zip code. That's my zip code. I want anything inside that zip code. What is it going to take? I'll give you a sight unseen offer to send over the JV agreement.
Not JV assignment.
I mean, assignment agreement. Yeah. So for me, let me ask you a question. Do you know what that means? Well, what do you mean? Do you realize that you're waiving all your due diligence because my contract of assignment flat out says it's a non-refundable EMD. Mm-hmm. You're going to have 24 hours to deposit your EMD or this contract, the assignment is null and void. Yep. So you're willing to waive all rights, sight unseen, for me to send over the assignment agreement and get this deal done. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes.
Great. You understand that I am going to require, and I'll be firm with a nice size EMD as well. So instead of our normal kind of tier of $1,500, $2,500, I'll be firm with like a $5,000 sight unseen offer. EMD on a sight unseen offer, just so that they know what they're saying to me. And then I put a timeline, 24 hours of, I do that on all assignments. They have 24 or 48 hours.
That's right.
To put in EMD. Keywords here, I never stop marketing the property.
That's right.
All the way to the finish line. I've still got deals on Investor Lift that show available and they've been closed. I want the data. I want the buyers coming. They see a good deal.
Don't let Robert hear you say that.
It's just data that you're collecting, and then
you're the one that's screwing up their KPIs.
I am. Yeah.
Perfect. I think that was our last topic that we wanted to discuss. Before I ask you if there's anything else you want to do, I just want to take a quick pause here, see if you guys have any questions for Joey, drop it on the chat right now so we can answer those questions. But yeah, Joey, thank you very much for this, man. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad I came out here. Last minute decision. It's always a plus when you surround yourself with other like-minded people who have done this business, who are successful, and the little nuggets that I will get this weekend is just priceless.
100%. Looking forward to networking and absorbing as much value as I can.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one. That's right. By the way, hang in there because not you, but I will be doing other live calls throughout the week or the weekend. Not live calls, but I'll do some live interviews here and there as I come across maybe RJ, hopefully Cassie, or any other investors. I will do quick lives, asking quick questions. And once again, I just hate editing videos, and that's why I do the lives. So I'm rambling now. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you soon.